Hey, what's up YouTube? So since the start of the league, I've always wanted to try out some of the new skills that they came out with, which includes Petrified Blood, Exsanguinate, and Reap. Now I know Reap is really bad according to a lot of people because of the dead zone in front of the spell, so I was left with trying out Exsanguinate. Now it was always an issue with how do I actually cast Exsanguinate, right? Because I'm playing low life Aura Stacker. As you can see here, I only have like 732 life. Like, how can I actually play Exsanguinate? Well, actually, usually you would have like 12 life unreserved. So how can I cast a spell that costs 174 life? So it's actually kind of intriguing in trying to get this to work out. And as you can see here, let's go check out the PoE Ninja to see what my Exsanguinate damage is. Exsanguinate was a really good clear skill, and it was actually kind of surprising in how good it actually was. It kind of reminded me of Arc in a sense. So here we have myself, only person with cold conversion. So I'm pretty much only scaling the hit and completely ignoring the damage over time dot, because the damage over time dot does not get converted, and you can see the pathetic amount of damage it deals, which is 4,700 physical damage per second. So in these next like few build videos or diaries, I wanted to share how I'm going to build the Exsanguinator, and I'll probably end up swapping back to Spark because the disclaimer is that Spark is the best skill. It cannot be beat in almost every situation, including an Ultimatum. Exsanguinate probably clears the map faster, but Spark I think has better single target if you can cast, because Exsanguinate is a Fizz skill that has to use Fizz to Lightning, and I also cannot run RF because I'll show you how I'm actually able to use Exsanguinate. So anyhow, let me get into the gear overview that we usually do. So overall, the gear is actually kind of different this time around. So for this helm, last time I was talking about how I wanted to get +2 AoE gems, and I was finally able to get +2 AoE gems. There's actually a trick to do it. You craft on suffixes cannot be changed once you have your suffixes. In this case, I filled out the suffix with aspect of the avian. So you just buy a Sackawall beast, you put the helm in the bestiary, and then you are able to get aspect of the avian. If you wanted to get chaos res, you would do suffixes to not be changed and reforge chaos, and that means you're guaranteed chaos res as the suffix, because that's the only chaos mod left. So after you get your suffix filled out, so you'll have 20 multi, 7 reserve, and an aspect. Then you do suffixes cannot be changed and veiled chaos orb. This will guarantee you a veiled mod, and then you'll go here and unveil it, and here you try to hit the mod +2 to AoE gems, which pretty much gives you a de facto alpha tau in a weird sense. And then you can craft on life to block something, and then YOLO exalt, and that's what Chris wants you to do, right? He wants you to YOLO exalt your item and try to hit %ES. Or you can try to buy an AUG influence, and you could probably get like Fizz damage taken as cold, or power charge on kill, all of which are really, really good. But an AUG influence is like 10 exalts and literally does not exist on a TFT Discord. So your best bet is to just YOLO exalt and pray to Chris. So Prism Guardian, we're still using this. Same exact one. Still trying to get a Grace one, but it's kind of expensive. Now here I used the Leo Exalt and got Intelligence, which was actually pretty good. So this amulet's pretty nutty now. I took off the projectile speed because I'm no longer playing Spark, but if you're playing Spark, you should have the projectile speed as the craft. And I put on %ES. The Call of the Brotherhoods are still the same. Oh, actually this Call of the Brotherhood's better now because that's global Fizz damage for Exsanguinate. But this is actually the big change. I'm using a Sack of Walls now. Now you're wondering, how am I using a Sack of Walls? Well, and why am I using it? It's because you can run more auras. I'm able to run Aspect of the Avian now, and I have a bunch of life unreserved. So with the Exsanguinator, you can run Petrified Blood, which helps protect your life pool. So it pretty much doubles your life pool. So in reality, this is like 1,500 or so life. And then with max chaos res, which you have close to, your effective chaos HP is around like 8k or so with Petrified Blood. So it ends up being like okay for most content in the game. So if you guys want a kind of cheap way out and you have chaos res on your gear, I can kind of recommend Stacker Walls as long as you don't mind dying to chaos damage every now and then. It's a lot easier to manage all of the RMR jewels. You will not need to worry about RMR so much anymore, as you have 10 RMR on the chest for free. And it also makes you a lot faster because of the aspect of the avian and its doubled effect. But this is just one option to keep in mind. For most people, I still highly recommend Shavs and to just play the traditional low life setup. This is if you want to get a little nutty, a little different, and a little wild with how you play the Aura Stacker. And this is pretty much only because I can play Exsanguinate. And this belt, I'd probably will change it out because I don't need skill duration anymore for Exsanguinate. The boots, I think I showed you guys yesterday, but these are fully finished. Oh, I took off the percent ES and got the cannot be frozen, as I actually changed out my Watcher's Eye so I could get a Fizz conversion one for Exsanguinate because of the Fizz damage. So you need to fully convert the Fizz damage over to Lightning. So that's why I have this Watcher's Eye. And then the gloves, Asenath's Touch is still doing some okay. I'm okay with this pair right now over Hands of the High Templar, although I will probably switch over to Hands of the High Templar in the near future once I get more currency. It's mainly because I have life and mana on this, and life actually ends up being pretty important when you're playing this weird Stack of Walls low life version. The Stack of Walls low life version is only pretty much possible because they changed low life to be 50% threshold instead of 35%, or is it 30%? I don't really remember. But anyhow, this build is kind of wacky now, but it definitely works out. I'm running a Transcendent Flesh now since I no longer need the RMR, so I switched out one of my RMR jewels for Transcendent Flesh. Still in the process of kind of switching out my Lightning multi jewels for just generic multi. If you're trying to play Exsanguinate or even EK, you cannot use, it's harder to get crit multi because you can't use crit multi with elemental skills and you can't use crit multi with lightning skills. So the only way you can get a double multi jewel is multi with spells and global crit multi. So that's why EK usually generally has a lower ceiling than Spark, because the multi is just so much lower in general. But basically this build is pretty fun to play. I can show you a few clips in the maps while I talk about how I'm able to run Exsanguinate, and tomorrow we'll probably go into Hands of the High Templar and maybe one of these crafts, because I just want to spend the next day or two in today's video talking about Exsanguinate, and tomorrow I'll showcase some Exsanguinate bossing action from all of the clips I've collected from stream. But anyhow, let me go straight into what Exsanguinate is and how to actually scale it and how I'm actually able to even cast the skill. So this is pretty much some general clear of the Exsanguinate. I did a simulacrum all the way to wave 20. It wasn't a big issue. See, the clear is very good. It's not spark clear, like if you just stand there still and cast spark forever. There's a little more involved playstyle, but you can kind of see the life pool just stays the same. Now you might be wondering, like, how can I actually cast a spell that costs 194 life the whole time and I'm casting it at like 5 times a second? And the answer is I don't run Zealot's Oath anymore. Now this actually is kind of annoying because this means that we don't have the regen we need to run RF, which kind of sucks. But I just cannot find a solution to be able to cast Exsanguinate with life. Because if you play without life regen at all, then you will not regen enough life in order to actually cast a spell. And it's just sad that that's the case, but without vitality or life regen affecting our life pool, Exsanguinate is not castable. You can cast it like maybe once or twice, and that's about it. But basically, you can see that Exsanguinate is pretty good. I think I might die here. Oh wait, I killed the boss. Oh wait, no, the boss is still alive. But yeah. So let me go over real fast like how the Exsanguinate works. So without Zealot's Oath, right? That means our life regen is 700 to 1000. So that means this full life bar is regen in 1 second no matter what. Petrified Blood, this actually means our life pool is around 1600 ish, and you can get it a lot higher. I'm running Unnatural Instinct now, so I'm getting like 9% life, 10% mana, and a bunch of other stuff. So 10 intelligence too. So basically, you are no longer able to regen your ES. So in order to regen our ES, I use this jewel here, ES on hit. Now this jewel is pretty expensive, so that's why I feel like this build would be hard for people to emulate and copy. And also, I'm probably gonna get an ES Leech jewel like I had before. So let me see if I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So I'm able to use one of these cheap large clusters, right? Yeah, so Essence Rush. So I believe with this jewel here, I will be able to sustain my ES and I won't have to worry so much about it. So this is 0.3% of spell damage, leech as energy shield. So I'll buy one of these jewels and it should be good. In reality, Exsanguinate is pretty much an arc in all intensive purposes. I think its single target damage is worse than arcs, but its clear is better than arcs. Like the physical damage component per second is not really that crazy. You can see it's a tiny amount. So overall, the skill is pretty much like a proof of concept that you can actually play the Exsanguinator as an Aura Stacker. And in all reality, this build is still the best build possible for an Exsanguinator, because Exsanguinate is just not very good as a skill in terms of scaling. It is hard to scale two different things. Now you can see here, even with the scuff setup, this build does like a lot more damage than any of these other builds. Like this damage is fake because it's what's it called? It's a cast on crit Exsanguinate. And then you can see there's these weird, I don't know what this even is, Vulcanus Exsanguinator. Maybe this is pretty good. But overall, I'm pretty hyped to keep playing it on stream, try it out a little more, maybe min-max it a little bit, and then I'll give you a full verdict on if you guys should try to roll it or not. But it's been pretty fun playing it. A lot of the fun is coming in figuring out how to actually get the skill to work. Because imagine like trying to cast a skill that's 174 constant life, 0.17 seconds. It's just impossible to cast it this fast. But if you can cast it, it's pretty good. I'm also going to try out Reap on stream today, so if you guys want to check it out, it'd be pretty cool. I think Reap has a better single target potential than Exsanguinate. If you look at Reap's baseline damage, and it has blood charges, it could be better, but Exsanguinate's clear is honestly nutty. It honestly is just as good as Sparks. But Ultimatum wise, it's pretty mediocre, and I'll show you pretty much a map clear, a Uber Elder kill, and some quick Exsanguinate highlights. And next time, we'll probably get back into Spark and talk about how I can help you guys optimize your gear setup with that. But yeah, I'm going to play some of these clips and hope you enjoy. How is this? Yeah, not having energy leech is actually bad. I think if I had the other jewel, it'd be fine.
Can I not have but a moment's respite?
That's not too bad. It's pretty much a depthless Uber Elder. Looks pretty bad compared to Spark. I mean, everything would look bad compared to Spark. Duplicated stuff. Duplicated Shaper is pretty annoying. But yeah, duplicated Uber Elder and Feared is really bad. I feel like I want to try a Fear. I'll try to fix this character up and then do a Fear tomorrow, and then we'll reevaluate what skill we want to use. If Exsanguinate's actually faster than Spark. Got it back to back then. Yeah, it's very unlucky.
Is your ego bruised? Choking vapors.
80 gifts in without seeing the one I want. Yeah, I mean, like, it's easier for sure, but if you're trying to get a specific helm enchant, you're still trying to hit something that's like 1 in 500 went to 1 in like 150, right? And even then, with the gift, it's still very hard to get it.
Rare is the breath of living air.
Twice enchant and check for shrines too, yeah. At least the chaos damage is not really so much an issue anymore.
Ruin arrives suddenly.
Tremor Rod.
Surrounds you. Contamination moves swiftly on You have redeemed yourself.
I'm about to have a good night. Yeah, I'm about to head off too. I'm gonna head off after like 1 or 2 more maps. It's a blast trying out Exsanguinate though. Can't wait to go eat this chili afterwards. You twice, I mean, it's not the worst because I'm making big currency. Yeah, I mean, like, lab is pretty good money. Chance of Charm Master fight. No, the only thing you can do is do more maps. That's not really like a direct increase. How much is my build? The build is 35-40x. I don't know if the winning actually does anything in a row. That's what I thought it did, but not 100% sure. Yeah, but we were able to do most of the content with this. We killed Maven, we killed Uber Elder. Do one. Actually, Firm Believer is just random. Yeah, I think it is just random. But anyhow, that's gonna be like about it for me. So, wait. Well, I hope the clips make you want to play Exsanguinate because skill is honestly a blast to play. It's very cool to see all the blood everywhere. But the main thing I want you guys to take away from this video is that Stack of Walls is usable on low life. You have enough life, and if you have enough chaos res, chaos damage is really not that common in this game, and you will be able to survive most maps. Now, will you be able to level to 100 without fail and not struggle a little bit here and there with a few deaths? Yeah, but will you feel a lot faster in the maps you're playing because you have aspect of the avian? Yeah, and it's also very cool to be doing something different. Not sure if it's the best solution, but I believe with 75% chaos res and a little life on your gear or somehow, that it will be perfectly fine to play with. But that's just something that I'll experiment a little bit more and get back to you, because eventually I think CI is the best option if you have the damage. The regen in terms of survivability is insane for CI, and at a certain point your gear just becomes so good that 70% more damage is really not necessary. Like, that's pretty much the reason why we drop faster projectiles. But hope everyone enjoys this video. I'll probably put a pop of the Exsanguinator so people can see the links. Chain is something I'm running right now. I need to get a white socket on this chest to get, so I can swap it out, because the chain is actually the reason why the single target is kind of mediocre, as you saw in the earlier clips. But if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be streaming every day on Twitch, and you can see the live progress of this character and be able to ask me for any questions about your Aura Stacker or help with your POB. But be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, and I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do.